our front entrance, we brought it in off 27th Street because when we moved the entrance a long time ago over to the west side of the school, we thought that it kind of hid the entrance, and we really wanted the high school to be a place that the community could be proud of. So this is much more visible. People won't be asking where do you get into the high school, as well as for security purposes, it made a lot more sense. So we'll be walking into the vestibule here. So this is the main entrance, and as we walk through, any guests that are coming will have to go into our central office or into our administration. Our students will come right through these doors, and we'll walk here into the administration as if we were guests. So here's our central office where our guests will check in. This is our secretarial, our office administration. And then if you walk back here, these are our offices. You'll see a lot of people walking around. It's very busy right now. These are administrative offices. Here's where our teachers will come in for copy machine type stuff, mailboxes and those things. Faculty restrooms. As you walk back, you'll see the different offices. One of the very nice things that we have are we have 2 conference rooms. This is one smaller conference room. It's great for IEPs, parent meetings, student meetings. Should students ever get in trouble, it's a good spot for us to work with those students. And then this is a great room for us because it's just a collaborative space. Anytime we have a district level meeting or just even meeting with staff doing professional development, this is a great space.
This is quite a bit larger than the administrative space that you had before, isn't it?
It is, yes. With the addition of the conference rooms, it definitely added some space, as well as the back area with the mailboxes and the teacher space. So we'll go ahead and walk out, and we'll walk in as if we're students. We come through the main entrance here, and then we come into what is going to be the Commons cafeteria area. This used to be where we had our, I'm trying to think of the term, but the outdoor space.
Yeah, that was that outdoor space in the middle, just right out in there.
And kind of looking, we did about 16 other school tours, and when we did those tours, we saw that this was a common theme, and it made a lot of sense for us, is that if we could use this space, since the community is always here for basketball tournaments or speech meets, or there's always something going on, if we could use this space so the community could enjoy it during those times and make it much more practical, we thought that would be viable. And if we could duplicate that space for our cafeteria, then it was much more efficient. It was much more efficient use of space.
And so, the kitchens for the cafeteria then are over here?
Yes, so if we head over here, you'll see our cafeteria, and we did much more of a food court style.
Wow.
So students will have their options. They won't have to wait in 2 solid lines. There will be 5 or 6 lines where students can just grab something. This will be our kiosk where students can check out and make payment. So much more of like, if you go to a college campus or something, or if you go to a food court, much more of that style of a cafeteria. User-friendly.
Very much so.
Another thing that we added in this area that we saw in some other schools was a stage. This is because we host banquets and things a lot. So these banquets, they'll be able to use our technology right here, and this will be a great space for hosting banquets, hosting dances, doing all the other stuff that go along with the high school.
Sure.
So go ahead and walk this way. This is, as you'll remember, this is where the auditorium is. Our designers built these walls.
Well, I don't think you would recognize it as such.
And the reason they built these walls is because anytime someone came into the auditorium during a performance, the light shined directly onto the stage. So as you'll see in many theaters, this protects the light from entering into the auditorium when someone has to enter the auditorium during a performance. We actually increased the size of our concessions considerably. So this area will be all concessions, where it used to be just a one single window. We brought it out and we've expanded it, so a much larger, much more user-friendly concessions as well. So we'll keep walking this way. This is just kind of where students can stand. If you look at these plugins, they have ports so they can charge their iPads or their phones, but just different seating areas. So this right here will be our school store, and this right here will be our school resource officer space. We have public restrooms, which are much larger than what we had before, once again because we house a lot of events. The really nice thing about this is this will be probably the most used space, and we can shut this down. So once we have games or anything at night, we can go ahead and shut this area down so people won't be wandering through our building at nighttime when we have the public in. So that's great for safety and security. So as we go back, we're going back into the classroom wing right now. This is a student collaboration space, kind of a hangout space. Once again, it has docking stations. If students are studying, they have an open hour, something like that. They have a much more conducive space for studying. As we walk down here, first we'll see the counselors on our right. This is a collaborative space. It's an open area. A lot of spaces we've used because we're in this part of the building for this year, and then we'll add phase 2. So a lot of spaces aren't necessarily used as they were intended until we get the second phase done. But this will be a collaborative space where students can work on projects, or they can work on college applications. It's connected to the counseling area for a reason, and we'll see the counseling area right here.
Hang on a second, I'll take you back there.
So this is our counseling space. This area right here has quite a few computers, and with these computers, these students can do their eCompass testing, they can do college scholarships, college applications. This is more of a student workspace, and if we go back here, this is our counseling area. So students that need to visit directly with counselors will be put back here, and they'll be able to meet with their counselors in more of a private setting. As you can see, there's a back entrance, so if a student's in crisis, they don't necessarily have to walk through the main area. We can get the student in through the back entrance, so it kind of helps us in those kind of areas as well.
This one here?
So we'll go ahead and walk down here. This is mainly our English, our business, marketing and management, and our communication, arts, and technology. So we'll walk through these areas. This right here is actually our life skills area. This is for our students with high needs. This is a really cool space. We've never had this opportunity before, but what you'll see is, guess I'll have to wave.
Oh, okay. Hello.
You'll see a kitchen. There's actually an ADA accessible kitchen as well as a standard height kitchen. This is where students will learn simple life skills, so someday they can hopefully live independently or with just small assistance. And there's also a restroom back here. So this is a really neat space. We're excited to have this and have that opportunity for those students.
And again, you say this is something that you never had before.
Yes, we had the program before, but we didn't have the space to accommodate the program. So we made do with like hot plates and things like this, but now students can really learn how to use a stove, use a microwave, simple care, personal care items, and we can really teach those things to those students. We'll walk across the hall. This is a standard English classroom here. And this is pretty much what you'd see with any classroom. The setup is primarily the same. If you see along the wall, every classroom has this type of storage system. And then depending on the teacher preference, that's what we put on the back walls. Like these are tack strips. Some classrooms have tack boards and some classrooms have the full whiteboard all the way across the back, just depending on what the classroom needed. This is our art room, or this is our 3D space, and the other side is the 2D space. So you can look straight through the glass. Whether we had one teacher or two teachers teaching this, we can utilize both spaces. This is a kiln area and a storage space. And if you'll see, the architects kept the ceiling open in this space. The reason being is because it's a little more artistic, to give it more of that artistic feel. I kind of like it.
Yeah, it's very open.
Down the road in phase 2, when the school is knocked out, this will open up into kind of an outdoor classroom. So our garden, our greenhouse, and outdoor classroom will be out there. So that's why we have the door right here. So our art teacher can take the students directly outside, and they can utilize the outdoor space to work, to hold class. And once again, like a lot of the ideas that we put into the school and the architects put into the school are designed off of what we saw other schools do and some of the best practices that we saw and what they commented on being probably the most ideal spaces.
The spaces look very versatile, like they can adapt to change.
Yes, that was another thing for consideration. We thought about doing like a pod structure. Some other schools have done like a pod structure. But we wanted to build a building that was flexible. That, 50 years down the road, if curriculum changes or we change what we're going to do, we have the flexibility to do that. So this would be our journalism classroom. Mr. Pickens. Actually, this is Mr. Devers. Mr. Pickens is one door back there. This is our theater performing arts room, drama room. And you'll see this is quite a bit larger. And if we walk around back here, we set a stage. This is something we saw in Garden City, Kansas. And
oh wow,
it's a stage area, so students can do one acts, do some performance, do speeches, and they don't necessarily have to run down to the auditorium. They can utilize this space, and any teacher can use it, but we put it right by the one acts and drama for that purpose, for that intention. So if we go in here, yeah, I love the bridge.
Yeah, that is neat.
So if we go in here, this is one of my favorite areas in the school as well. This is our green room. So this will be our video production area.
Oh wow.
So right now we're working on our programs. Our teacher is building the video production program, so we're trying to bring in like student news, those sort of things. We think we can really do that with our green room and our space here. If we walk next door, this will become our graphic arts lab. So this will be a Mac lab with all Mac computers, as well as like webcam tablets, so students can design in here. And this next room beside it will be the production area. So this will be all printers. Large printing, screen printing, those items. But the reason we put it on a side room with all the printers is that with our marketing right over here and our journalism right over here, that way all of our students can use it from all those different areas. So it's not just for our graphic arts students, it's for all of our students that need the space to do printing and production. And our hope is that we start turning out products that the public would want to buy, and then that would help support our programs. And we work in collaboration with some businesses and learn some the skills in order to produce those products to help continue to buy the materials we need to teach the curriculum.
That really, I mean, the whole career academy concept really comes into play there.
Yeah, and when people say that the building was important for this to happen, it's absolutely essential. Had we not had the building, although we could have ran the career academies, we couldn't have ran them as effective as we're running them
Right.
now. So really, it's a testament to the community and their support and what they've done for us. So as we walk down here, we'll walk down into the human sciences and education as well as social science area. This is our education space. This is K-12 education and early childhood. It's a larger room because we'll have a smaller classroom set up in the back area. So students that are interested in early childhood or K-12 education can work on setting up a small classroom of their own. And they can do bulletin boards and things like that. And we can also bring students in, like children in from preschools, to work with them and utilize that smaller space and the smaller desks to basically create a small classroom environment. In this area, we also have like our criminal justice program, our human services and counseling program. So that's all housed in this area. This right now will be a temporary library, but it will be another human sciences room once it's done. It's actually designed for textiles and interior architecture. So we'll go ahead and walk back this way and go up these stairs here.
Okay.
So the whole building is built in this large L, the classroom wing. And we're going upstairs, which actually mirrors this floor, but we have several other programs. What we did on the second floor is more of our math science area, more of our STEM area. So the programs housed up there are more of our science, our health science, our computer science type programs. And it's all spread throughout, and it once again, it's kind of a collaborative design. So as you'll see, we're looking out to 5th Avenue here, so this is the spot you can see at night. It's really one of the large features of the building, I think. One of the things that makes it stand out. So as we walk down to this right side, this is our science classrooms. We'll walk in this one. This is our physics engineering classroom. Mr. Lemoyne.
Oh.
So every classroom is designed to be a classroom and a lab. All the tables are the same height as the countertop. So as students are doing labs, they can pull the tables over to the sides and they can actually conduct their labs. We'll go down into the chemistry lab. It's a pretty cool space, so it's worth seeing.
Do you have like a layout map for the students that they will get when they come in?
We are going to take all of our students on tours the first day. That's one of their orientations, is to
Okay.
show them around, show them where everything's going to be located. So this is our chemistry space. Mr. G there.
Hey.
And one of the really cool things that you'll see is this is a chem hood housed in the classroom. One other really neat feature that all classrooms have is a speaker system that allows for video sound as well as voice up. If a student has hearing issues, you can mic yourself up, but it definitely helps the interactive feel of the classroom. And then if a teacher is presenting, they actually can go on the back side of these chem hoods and they can do their chem hood presentation from the back side in this storage area.
Oh, how unique.
So a very cool design feature.
Yes, very much so.
So the next space we'll be walking to is the health science area. We have 2 health science labs, but we also have a science teacher teaching one of our health science classes. So we want to keep the health science and the sciences pretty close together.
Just photo walk.
This is teacher's lounge back in here, and it is something that we have to
And
get used
again,
to.
this is the bridge that we
Yes,
were
this is
looking
the
at
bridge
from
that we're
down
on top of
below,
right now.
and there's the stage down there.
Right.
Wow.
Because everything's much more open than what we're accustomed to in the schools, like with all the glass. So it is something that we're getting used to as well, but it's a very, very cool concept. So this is our B&A Med Innovation Med-Term classroom, Mrs. Anderson. And before, we were in a regular classroom, so we only had 2 beds. So to get through our B&A curriculum was very difficult. Now we have 4 beds in this space, so it should really help out our students with getting through all the skills that they need to get through in that class in order to sit for the state test.
Very high tech.
Thanks. That's kind of what we're shooting for, so I'm excited to hear you say that. This will be our second health science classroom. Right now, a science teacher is in here until the freshman academy is finished, but this will be our second health science. This will be more for lecturing versus the lab. And then this third room, where our other health science teacher is right now, is actually our cosmetology space. Your face. So this is our cosmetology area. This hasn't been brought in yet. We've been working with the state in order to get around some of the regulations in order to bring in the cosmetology program. So that's something that we plan on bringing in around 2017, fall of 2017 or fall of 2018, 1 or 2 years down the road. But we think we've got some positive feedback and some positive news, so we think we're going to be able to bring it in here shortly. And we have a lot of student interest.
Well, that's pretty exciting that you're looking ahead that far already with this building.
Yes, yeah. So I think it'll be a very attractive program for a lot of our students. This is our faculty lounge. Here it's kind of cool that it overlooks everything. As you can see, it's all glass and it overlooks the bridge. So once again, copying, paper, housing, storing paper, storing materials. So that section was science, and then this section is more of our mathematics. So all these classrooms are mathematics. We do have our computer science program down here, but these are all standard classrooms. If we go in one, I'll show you what I meant by the back of the classroom. Hi, Mrs. Wilkin. So this back of the classroom has whiteboards, whereas the other one had the tack strips.
Right.
So this is our student restrooms in here. We're starting to work our way into world languages. Here's our computer science lab right here. So this will be Microsoft, our Microsoft Academy, as well as our computer science area. And as we move back, we have our world languages, German. This is a special education area room. And our special education is spread out throughout the building. The reason being is that we wanted to spread it out so our special education teachers could collaborate with whatever teachers they're working with. So it's not all housed in one central spot. It's actually housed in all the different areas of the school so they can collaborate with those teachers and have better access. So we'll walk down the stairs and we'll actually be back by the school store when we come out. And then we'll visit our music department as well as come back around the culinary and then finish up with the locker rooms, athletic area.
And they've already begun phase 2
They have.
over there.
Yeah. We probably should have looked out the windows when we were there, but they have the footprint for the ag construction area, and they put the fencing around where the new auxiliary gym, weight room, and mat room are going to be. So we're coming out once again by the counselor's area. This is kind of the main stairwell. Students will probably use, and we'll go down by the music and fine arts area.
Yeah, everything's
Looking good. As you can see, it's very busy.
Lockers all pre-assigned?
Yeah, they are. It's based on student request. That was another thing that we found out from quite a few schools is that not every student wanted lockers, and they felt like they put in lockers and spent a lot of money on lockers that wasn't necessary. So we put in a certain amount of lockers. We have the ability to put in more lockers if we need to. But right now, I think there's approximately 300 or 400 lockers that are going to go into the building, even though we have a student population of about 850. So if
That's
we need
different.
more, we can bring them in,
Yeah.
but we just don't see students using lockers right now. This is our recording studio. This is the staff from Yondis actually putting together the recording studio. So this is the student area where it'll be a Mac lab, and they'll do the actual digital side. And then this is the recording room back here where the students will do their recordings. So instruments and things will go in there. This space, the video space, the digital space, the marketing, they'll all collaborate quite a bit on projects to do like music overs on video shots and do recordings. So it'll be a great opportunity for students to learn how to collaborate and do teamwork in the communication side of business. This is our choir room. Right here is our office and music storage, and then once you pan around, you'll see the recording, the individual practice rooms. All the individual practice rooms are mic'd over into the recording studio. So students are singing for or practicing for Allstate, or if they want to record themselves, they can actually record into the studio, and we can get a track from basically a distant location. And we'll actually walk through an office, and we'll work our way into the band room. And this is our band rooms.
Okay, we're leaving it then.
Brad?
Music lockers, we're actually behind the auditorium right now, so in our old building we'd actually be outside. So you can see behind the stage here, and this is all existing. So that really wasn't touched because it's all just basic storage. Now we're on the south side of the auditorium. One of the old pieces of the building that stayed intact was our dressing rooms. So our dressing rooms, if you're ever back in this area for our musicals, all are pretty much the same other than the flooring and the ceilings. So that's kind of an interesting historical piece, I guess.
One little chip of the building that's right in this corner. But this would have been the old hallway that was on that south side of the auditorium that was the fire hazard.
Right. This would be the small hallway, and if we step in here, we're actually standing in what would have been the choir room.
Yeah.
So as we walk back, nice open hallways. That's another thing that I really like. Our hallways were much smaller than this in our old building, so it won't feel nearly as congested. This is our culinary arts room, so our Pro Start. And it is a commercial kitchen. It's full of stuff right now, but We put this here so we could share resources with the kitchen itself, like storage resources, and when they're doing shipping, coming in and out with food, we can share that space. The other reason we wanted to put it here is anytime we're housing events, and if our Pro Start program wants to do food for like after a football game for the visiting team or for the visiting basketball team, they can do that, and then once again, the money we receive from that team for the meals can go back into our program and help support our curriculum.
You mentioned shipping. Is there a centralized location where supplies come into the school?
There is. I can actually take you back there. So we're working our way to the back side of the kitchen. So this is all back of house for the kitchen. And if you go straight down this hallway, there's a large steel door, and that steel door allows for trucks to pull up and do a straight shot for delivery. So all of our offices, coolers, and everything is back there.
Ray Charles could see that.
So the last space is our locker rooms and our activities and training facility. I don't think we've gone into the nurse's office yet, but that is another nice space. So it's right off the front office. It's locked. In case there's an emergency, we can let the students in. This is a waiting area, 2 beds, office, bathroom, so they don't have to run through the school if it's an emergency. Bathroom is right there. We'll have a fridge right there for medicines and things, so everything's kind of right up front, which is it's good to have because our nurses' room was a long ways off of our central office prior to this building. And if ever there was an emergency, we were a long ways away from that student.
Right.
And it wasn't ideal for safety reasons.
Or from emergency services getting into the building to get to if there was.
So where we're going now is the girls' locker room. The boys' locker room is on the other side. Hello? Go in. So this is the girls' locker room. Basically what they did, they moved a few walls, but they kept a very similar layout. And then they remodeled as they needed to in order to make it work. So all of this is new. New flooring, new paint, new lockers, new showers. So everything has been redone, but it kept kind of the existing structure. One thing that I really like that they did is we planned for visiting locker rooms on both sides. So on the boys' side, we created a visiting locker room as well. That's perfect for when we have tournaments, and we have quite a few teams here. This way we can house more teams and they're not having to share locker rooms. So this is our visitor locker room in here. So it's not incredibly large, but it's adequate. It has the showers, it has lockers and space that's needed.
The locker rooms and the plumbing issues that we had before were really one of the sore spots of the old building. This is really a remarkable improvement.
Yes, and they've done stuff to cover up those, some of the skylights that were leaking, and to resolve a lot of those issues. So it's absolutely essential. They're much nicer now. We got a new floor in the gym, and we also got new baskets, lifts on our side baskets, and then every basket has new backboards.
It's the first time I've walked on the new floor. It feels good.
Yeah, when we pulled this floor up, it actually had a layer of plywood, and gym floors are supposed to have a sleeper system underneath them, so you can kind of feel that reverberation, and this floor never had it, so it was just wood stacked on wood. So if it felt really hard, there was a reason for that. So when they redid this, they pulled it all up and they put that sleeper system back down so you could feel that spring in the floor, which is kind of a little trivia for, you know, people that are interested in basketball floors or basketball. So boys' locker room is back there, but it's essentially the same as the girls' locker room. And then the last space that has been remodeled is our activities office. Our training room was actually back there in kind of what it was, a closet. And that's one of the programs we'd also like to promote, is we want to bring back student trainers. So our students that are in the Health Science Academy and that are interested in sports medicine or physical therapy, we want them working alongside our trainer and working with our athletes. So we're starting to bring in that training aspect. So right now, the training room is through Cindy's office, but this won't be the way it is for when the second phase is done. So this is all training room, beds, ice machines, water. We're going to do the e-stim machine as well as the ultrasound, so students can start to learn the technology behind rehab. Hopefully get a couple bikes in here. This is the office, and this will eventually be the front entrance into the training room.
You didn't have something like this before, did you, Justin?
We didn't, no. We had a small room in the boys' locker room, and then we had like a closet almost for the girls. So it was in two separate spaces, and it wasn't adequate for either, really.
Right.
So just to kind of go over what's going to come in the future, so you can see what will happen, is where these brick walls are, right here, and where you see these two wood doors, that will become all auxiliary gym. So we'll walk through, this will be auxiliary gym, this will be our behavioral area, like our ISS, and another classroom. And then if we look straight back, this will become our weight room, and then right beside it, if you go into a small corridor, will be our wrestling room. So weight room, wrestling room, auxiliary gym, storage space, and if we look straight back into our old cafeteria, that will be our freshman academy wing as well as our library.
What about the old administrative area here?
All they're doing in this area is they're going to rip out the walls so it becomes a larger classroom, and then we can utilize this space. And we have a couple behavior programs that we're running, and that's the intended plan for this space, but things are always changing, so we'll see what happens at the end of phase 2, what this space becomes, but that's kind of our plan at this point.
And would that include the boardroom back there? Or
The boardroom will remain the boardroom.
Okay.
There's nothing being done since it was remodeled so recently, so it will stay intact just as is. Get cleaned up after all the construction is done, but it'll stay intact as it is.
Okay. That's it then?
Yeah, any other questions?
I don't think so. I assume that you guys feel pretty good about the new school, or at least this phase of the school being completed and ready for kids to move in next week.
Yeah, and I mean, students have been here all week helping, which sometimes it's hard to get students to help, but students have been volunteering like crazy, and so I think our students are extremely excited that they're going to have this opportunity. Our staff is excited, and we're very appreciative to our community for showing this kind of support, this level of support, and we're thinking it's going to have a huge impact.
All right. Well, thank you so much for the tour.
Yeah, thank you.